Senator Ludlam.
Are there any plans resulting in the change of administration in the US for Australia to host additional US military assets, either on our soil or in our ports?
No.
Nope.
Nothing's been raised with us,
Okay.
Senator.
Thanks, Mr Secretary. Late last year there were reports, although they were open source reports obviously, of an agreement to host the US F-22 Raptors for a period of time in the top end.
Yeah, they've been here.
They have been here. All right, that's not basing though, that's just a rotation.
It is, yeah.
Sorry, just maybe one at a time.
Part of our enhanced air cooperation arrangements, Senator.
Okay. Do they
Here
fly?
now, there are two, I think,
Sorry.
at Avalon at the moment.
At Avalon, that's for the air show though, they're not.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're currently in Tyndall on a deployment for exercise, and some of those aircraft went down to Avalon for the air show.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's Air Force. Anything useful that you can let us know about
think you're being
Navy?
let out now.
Because there's
There's been no additional naval hosting, etc. Hosting, there's been no request made to us.
all right. Thank you, Secretary. Are these rotations considered deployments, or are they strictly training?
They are training.
Okay, so they're not armed.
Oh, there is live fire training.
Okay, but they're not deployments. So these
No.
aircraft can't deploy out of Northern
Oh
Australia.
no, a different question.
I guess so,
they
yeah.
are. It is part of an annual rotation through Australia. Theoretically, they could deploy from Australia in an emergency.
Yeah.
However, they are part of a rotation where the focus is on training. If there was a humanitarian and disaster or humanitarian disaster in the region, the Marines in Darwin could theoretically deploy to assist in the recovery. But again, the primary purpose is training.
I think that's consistent with what was said before, either by you or your predecessor, probably more than a year ago, with regard to the Marines. But it's you're confirming that the Air Force aircraft could be used in the same way if an emergency or something arose.
In extremis.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes.
Okay. Are there, as part of either, well, I guess we'll leave the naval stuff aside, but as far as the US Air Force contingent through, or rotations through Tyndall, are those aircraft capable of carrying nuclear weapons?
I would note that for many years, the B-52 bombers have come to Australia. The B-1s have come to Australia,
yeah.
and they are capable of carrying nuclear weapons.
Yep. And as to, thank you, that's enormously comforting, but as to the expansion of the rotations through the Northern Territory, same goes?
Well, what do you mean?
I don't think it, until reasonably recently, within the last 2 or 3 years, it wasn't usual practice for US Air Force to be operating or rotating through Tyndall.
Actually, I disagree.
Okay.
When I was flying at Tyndall in the 90s, the US Air Force were rotating through the Northern Territory on a regular basis.
Okay.
US Marines and the US Navy, so it's not unusual.
Okay. Understanding, living in a port city myself, that when nuclear-capable vessels visit, they will neither confirm nor deny whether they're carrying such armaments. Yep. I presume that's still the official policy of the Navy. Okay. Does that also apply to nuclear-capable bombers?
I would simply note, Senator, what is on the public record in respect of US policy in terms of aircraft flying around nuclear armed. I would simply note that.
And what is on the public record?
They don't.
I don't think you'll find it is an everyday occurrence.
That wasn't quite what I asked. I know what's on public record.
I think you can work from first principles. You can look at what's publicly available.
Or you could just give us a clear answer,
And I
Mr.
think you could draw
Secretary.
your own conclusions.
Just give us a clear answer.
No, I think I've given it. I don't think I can do any
You
more
haven't.
than that.
You've obfuscated and told me to
I-
go and look at what's already out there.
If you look at what's publicly available, you look at the purpose of the enhanced air cooperation. You put all of that together, I think you could draw your own conclusions.
Well, I don't want to draw the wrong conclusion. I'm sure you wouldn't want me to either.
I'm sure you wouldn't.
So as far as what's on the public record for the Navy is concerned, they will neither confirm nor deny whether
That's
they're...
right.
Right. So, and what's the case with US aircraft?
I think the US neither confirms nor denies. A matter of course.
Okay, so it's the same. That's all I'm trying to establish, whether it's the same or whether there's a different policy.
I'm not aware of it being a different policy.
I would hope that you would be aware of it if there
Yep.
was a different policy.
Yep.
Okay, so it's possible that nuclear-armed bombers are transiting through Australia?
No, I won't agree
It's
with
not
that.
possible.
I'm sorry.
No,
I just won't
disagree
agree
with
with that.
Well, you can't have it both ways. Either it's confirmed or it's not.
Senator,
it-
I think we've said what we can on this, and I would simply leave it to common sense people to draw their own common sense conclusions.
I'm with the Secretary. That's why we're in a diarchy. You're not going down a common sense approach, Senator. Sorry.
I don't
If you
find
look at the authorities that sit around nuclear weapons and the security in the US, and then you look at the US policies in that, I think you're heading down a non-common sense approach.
You just told me that as far as you were concerned, US aircraft would neither, or the US government would neither confirm nor deny whether aircraft were carrying nuclear weapons through Australia. And then when I said, does that therefore mean it's possible that they are, you said no. Just choose one and I'll move on.
No, Senator, I understand the contradiction you're pointing to.
Great,
And
okay.
no, I
Help
understand the
us resolve
contradiction
it.
you're pointing to. I would also draw your attention to the common sense position that underpins all of that,
Which is what?
which is what I've pointed out to you.
I think others will draw their own conclusions as well. On the 4th of March last year, 46 experts in international law wrote to the Minister, wrote to you, Senator Payne, expressing their concern about Australia's policy of extended nuclear deterrence. And the lawyers urged the government to review its support for the doctrine of extended nuclear deterrence in the light of the growing international movement to prohibit these weapons on humanitarian grounds. Just firstly, has such a review taken place or is it currently taking place?
No, it hasn't, Senator, and no,
Okay.
it's not.
So should I take it that settled doctrine is as it's read in the white paper, the Defence White Paper?
Broadly speaking, yes, Senator.
Okay.
Those experts might want to write to the DPRK at some stage, I would imagine, Senator.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, from a nuclear proliferation point of view, there are a few nations around the world that are going down this path. So,
Right. And do you think that Australia supporting the nuclear obliteration of North Korea makes anybody safer? Because that's...
sorry.
I'll assume that's actually not
No.
a question for the CDF, Senator.
Well, the CDF intervened and said that we should take our concerns to the North Korean authorities.
No,
and
I said the
if that was
authorities.
tongue-in-cheek.
Rather than, yeah, it was. I
It was.
apologise for the tongue-in-cheek.
That's all right. All right. Well, we'll both stand down. And
Okay.
we'll come...
No, sorry.
No, every...
And certainly none for irony.
Every now and again, there is. Okay, so no review. The lawyers wrote to you. First of all, are you familiar with the correspondence that I'm referring
Yes,
to?
and I believe I responded to it, Senator.
Yeah, I know it's a while ago.
But I believe I responded
You
to
res-
it.
okay, great.
I recall a response of that nature.
Thank you. So the lawyers wrote, and I'll quote from here.
And I don't have a copy of the
Yeah,
response with
I
me.
understand that.
Life is not that
I
serendipitous.
won't misquote them. They wrote that the use of nuclear weapons, in quotes, would almost certainly violate international law given the uncontrollability of the blast, heat and radiological effects. Does the government agree?
Senator, my response was contained in that letter. I have no reason to change my views. We have no reason to adjust the position we've previously adopted, Senator.
Okay.
And on that note, we will break for afternoon tea and we'll